I'm going to talk to you about how to look fit and toned. We're going to go over 4 steps. I hear this all the time from people that I want to look fit, I want to look toned, and let me just say this, that there is really no definition of fit and toned, especially toned. Toned is not a thing. Toned is really just building up muscle and having that muscle show through under your skin. Now, if you have an excess of fat, you can have a lot of muscle and you're not going to have that toned look that you're looking for. But today we're going to talk about how to get that look, and specifically through building muscle and making sure that your diet is supporting that. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So first of all, we're going to understand our caloric needs. As a female athlete, you want to aim for about 45 calories per kilogram of fat-free mass. So what that means is you would need to know what your body fat percentage is, and you could just use a simple home scale for this. It doesn't need to be any fancy equipment. Just know that there is going to be a margin of error no matter what equipment that you use, but go ahead and you can use your bathroom scale to figure out this. And let's say you weigh 150 pounds and you are 100 pounds fat-free mass. Then you're going to take that 100 pounds and you're going to multiply it by 45. That is your minimum amount of calories that you should be eating in a day. Now, depending on what your goals are, you may need to increase your calories to gain some muscle, or let's say you just happen to have a lot of muscle on you already, but you need to lose some body fat to get those muscles to show, then you would just decrease 150 calories. Adding 150 calories may not actually be enough, but that is a starting point for you. Certainly, you would probably need to add more for you to gain muscle and any considerable amount of muscle. So I'm just going to use myself as an example here. Many years ago, I trained for a figure competition and I wanted to build some muscle. I needed to build some muscle to be competitive in that. And so I did a 3-month bulking phase. And at the time, I was eating roughly about 1,500 calories a day. And I wasn't really, training on any type of specific sport. I was just really working out at the time. It wasn't anything, crazy. I didn't have any specific training plan that I was following. And I went up to 1,800 calories and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so many calories. This is a lot. I'm going to gain weight. And I actually had to increase because my training load also increased a lot as well. I was up to about 2,800 calories a day at the most when I was putting on muscle during that bulking phase. So that is just to show you that that was a considerable jump. It was, well over 1,000 calories that I increased, but I did it incrementally. I did not just do it all at one time. So this is definitely something that you will want to work with somebody on figuring out what your calorie needs are if you are struggling to figure that out with that 45 calories per kilogram of fat-free mass. By the way, to convert your weight in pounds to kilograms, all you need to do is divide your weight in pounds by 2.2, and that will give you kilograms. So super easy. But like I said, if that's something that you're struggling with, reach out and I'm happy to set up an appointment and figure that out for you. Next, we are going to focus on nutrient-dense foods, and depending on what your goals are, if you need to build muscle, which most people that want that toned look need to build muscle, we need to focus on getting in calories as well. But we're not getting in calories just from anywhere. We need to focus on getting in protein specifically and carbohydrates. So carbohydrates, I've said before, is our body's primary source of energy. And it's also going to get stored in our muscle and our liver, which means it's actually needed for muscle growth, but it's also needed for recovery from your workouts, and it's going to be muscle sparing. Carbohydrates are going to be muscle sparing. So what I mean by that is during your training sessions, your body, if it doesn't have enough fuel, is going to use your muscle mass as a fuel source, and we don't want that to happen. So if you are having enough carbohydrates in your diet that gets stored in your muscles as glycogen, it will provide enough fuel for your body during that training session so that it's not going to break down as much muscle during your training session. So you need to have enough carbohydrates, but you also need to have enough protein. So protein is essential for building muscle, but it's not the only thing. So like I said, you need carbohydrates in there too. Sometimes people think, oh, I just need to eat a lot of protein and everything's going to work out for me. All my dreams are going to come true. And that's really not true. But protein is definitely something that needs to be prioritized. And I definitely think as females, we view having a high protein meal or something where we have a piece of meat in that meal, that it's going to be a heavy meal and we shouldn't be eating that. And that's really not the case. So we want to make sure that we are prioritizing protein, and your protein needs really can vary depending on what kind of workouts that you're doing, the intensity of it, that type of thing. So to put that in perspective, if you're an endurance athlete, you're going to be on the lower end of protein. So you're going to be roughly about 1.2 to 1.3 grams of protein per kilogram per day. And then if you are trying to put on muscle, you're doing intense weightlifting, you're going to be on the higher end, more like 1.7 grams per kilogram for protein per day. So again, this is something where you're going to want to work with a dietitian, a sports dietitian, to figure these numbers out specifically, such as myself, because it's really going to vary depending on what your sport is and your activity level, the intensity, and that type of thing. But just know that we need to prioritize protein. So protein, what are we looking at here? So if you do eat meat, obviously meat is going to be a protein. Eggs, dairy, Greek yogurt is a great source of protein that has both whey and casein in it, which are going to be digested at 2 different rates, which is actually a benefit of that. Also, if you are a vegetarian, eating things like beans, tofu, lentils, nuts, seeds, even if you're not a vegetarian, you can eat those things, and those are going to contribute to your overall protein needs for the day. So you want to make sure that you're getting in protein at each meal, and you're also getting in protein at each snack as well. So what this might look like for breakfast is maybe you're having a couple eggs, maybe 2 eggs with a bowl of oatmeal and some chicken sausage on the side, getting in some fruit with that as well. For a snack, you're getting in Greek yogurt with some blueberries and some granola. Then for lunch, you are having a piece of grilled chicken with some couscous and a side salad with some nuts on top. Then your snack can be an apple with peanut butter and a glass of milk. Dinner can be a piece of salmon, some brown rice or a baked potato, and some sauteed vegetables and some olive oil. You get the idea. So you're consistently getting protein over the course of the day. So I would actually start with figuring out what you are taking in right now. So if you use chronometer.com or chronometer.com, however you want to pronounce it, that is a program where you can track what you're eating, and it'll tell you how many grams of protein, carbs, fat that you're eating, as well as your micronutrients, which I think is really important, but it's accurate information. It's not user input information in there like MyFitnessPal is. So highly recommend that program to figure out where you are right now, and then you can make the decision of, do I need to increase my calories? Do I need to decrease my calories? And also, do I need to increase my protein? Do I need to decrease it? Probably you don't need to decrease it. Most people don't need to decrease it. Also, am I eating enough carbohydrates? Same thing. Am I eating too much? You know, that type of thing. So we want to focus on getting in a balanced plate, but then also getting in, whole foods over the course of the day, and we're getting in those nutrient-dense foods over the course of the day. So next we want to make sure that we are staying hydrated. This is something that I think a lot of people probably don't really consider when they want that toned look. But here's the deal. If you are not hydrating properly, your body is not working optimally at all, which means it's not going to be building muscle properly. Your metabolism is not going to be working properly. You're actually going to feel sluggish. You're not able to push yourself in the gym as much. There are so many factors here that are going to be impacted by you not hydrating properly. So what I want you to do, quick and easy math, is take your body weight as it stands right now in pounds, divide it in half, and that is your absolute minimum that you should be drinking in fluid over the course of the day. So again, if you are 150 pounds, you're going to divide that in half. You're at 75 ounces of fluid, non-caffeinated fluid, I should add, per day. So you could certainly be drinking, let's say, decaf tea in there or decaf coffee, and that would count towards your fluid needs. It doesn't have to be just plain water. Or maybe you're drinking a glass of milk at your snack, that can count as well. Perfectly fine. But we want to make sure that you are getting in at the minimum the half of your body weight in ounces of fluid per day to stay hydrated. And this is something that we can even go a little bit further with figuring out what your sweat rate is. And that's a time for another podcast, or a topic for another podcast rather. We will dive into that a little bit more, but for right now, just know that you need to have at least half of your body weight in ounces of fluid per day. The last thing I'm going to touch on with staying toned or wanting to look toned and wanting to look fit is making sure that you're lifting weights. And this might be a no-brainer, but I don't think a lot of people consider it when they want that toned look. A lot of people think, oh, if I just do a lot of cardio, I'm going to get the look that I want. And that's not the case. Even if you are a track athlete or you're a marathoner, any type of endurance athlete, you're going to need to do some type of resistance training. That is going to help to build muscle, which is going to help to produce power. It's going to make you better at your sport, but then at the same time, it's going to give you that toned look that you're looking for. So if you're not eating properly to support what you're doing with your trainings, then none of this is going to work out. So you really need to be doing both of them. And if we look at just the minimum exercise guidelines, you need to be doing resistance training at least 2 to 3 times per week for about 30 minutes and hitting all the body parts. So if you're not doing that right now, that's where I would start, is making sure that you are getting in 30 minutes of resistance training at least 2 to 3 times per week, and then building up from there. You don't have to be doing 2-hour weight training workouts a week. You're not going to look like a bodybuilder. You're not going to get big and bulky, but you do need to incorporate resistance training into your training plan. And that's also going to help prevent injuries as you're progressing through your sport. And it's going to help to strengthen your bones and your joints, which is going to help to prevent things like osteoporosis and osteopenia potentially later in your life, but it will also prevent things like stress fractures and breaks and that type of thing. So we need to incorporate all of these things. So there are 4 things that I mentioned here. So your caloric needs, understanding your caloric needs, making sure that you're getting in nutrient-dense foods and you're really prioritizing protein. Also, you are hydrating, and then you are lifting weights. So if you can incorporate these 4 things and you're working on them consistently, you will start to develop that nice toned look that you are looking for. And remember that being toned is not necessarily a thing. It is just simply building up muscle and letting it show from under our skin. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you got something out of this video. It resonated with you, and if you found it helpful, please like it, please share it with a friend, and please invite them to this Facebook group. I would really appreciate it. That is the best way that you can thank me for doing this video today. And have a good rest of your day.